For years, Flight MH370 seemed lost to history. 239 people vanished, no wreckage, no answers. But now, almost a decade later, a discovery is turning everything upside down. Undisclosed satellite signals, a flight path no one reported, and unexplained transmissions that shouldn't exist. Is it possible the truth was never what we were told? What truly happened to MH370? Let's dive in. But before we dive into the strange data, we need to go back to where it all began, the night everything changed. Flight MH370, operated by Malaysian Airlines, disappeared on March 8, 2014, during a scheduled trip from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. It carried 227 passengers from 14 countries and 12 Malaysian crew members. The flight, expected to last 5.5 hours, took off just before midnight and initially showed no signs of issues. The plane, a Boeing 777 known for its strong safety record, was flown by experienced pilots Captain Saria Metza and First Officer Farik Abdul. At 35,000 feet, it sent routine system reports, with the last standard update at 1:07 a.m. Another was expected at 1:37 a.m., but it never arrived. Around 1:19 a.m., after a standard sign-off with Malaysian Air Traffic Control, the plane stopped all communication as it entered Vietnamese airspace. Recent findings have brought forward new insights. MH370 maintained faint satellite contact with a stationary Inmarsat satellite over the Indian Ocean for 6 hours after it lost radar contact. These brief signals suggest the aircraft may have continued flying at cruising altitude, possibly after specific communication systems were disabled. There were 7 satellite connections, 2 automatic and 5 initiated from the ground, and 2 unanswered satellite phone calls. While no voices were heard, these attempts helped gather useful data. One point of interest involves recurring signals linked to something or someone, referred to as GEMA. These new developments may help deepen understanding of the aircraft's disappearance. What do you think the mysterious signal labeled GEMA could mean? Person, code, or something else? Comment and chat with me. But how did investigators trace the plane's mysterious movements long after it vanished from radar? I recently reviewed radar data on flight MH370. Reports from Air Traffic Control and the Malaysian Air Force suggest the plane made a sharp turn southwest after losing contact, then turned again over the Malay Peninsula and circled near Penang Island. It continued northwest over the Strait of Malacca before disappearing near the Andaman Sea. This unusual path lasted over an hour, raising doubts about common causes like hijacking or pilot error. From the start, the investigation took unexpected directions. The mystery has gained global attention, with families still searching for answers. The Boeing 777 has advanced systems and constant electronic communication, making its complete disappearance hard to explain. In today's connected world, even digital traces are tough to erase. The lack of contact has led to many theories, some speculative but all showing public interest. Since it's rare for a modern plane to vanish, early confusion and unclear statements led to more questions. Over time, more details about the flight path emerged, but the core mystery remains. Just when the trail seemed to go cold, one unexpected twist in the data sent investigators in a completely new direction, toward one of the most remote parts of the planet. The investigation into flight MH370 took a surprising turn when technicians in London analyzed Doppler shift data and uncovered new, unexpected flight details. In March, at around 2:40 a.m., the aircraft, which was believed to be flying straight, made a significant turn to the southeast. This occurred near Sumatra, the northernmost island of Indonesia. Although some uncertainty remains, analysts suggest the aircraft may have continued on a path further south than originally thought, possibly toward the Southern Ocean. About 6 hours later, satellite data indicated a sharp descent. The rate of descent was unusually fast, several times steeper than normal. Just minutes after passing the 7th satellite arc, the aircraft is believed to have entered the ocean. Data suggests this was not a controlled landing but a high-speed impact. It's likely the aircraft experienced structural failure before reaching the water, resulting in widespread debris. However, the precise location and cause of the incident remain unknown. Interpretations of the satellite data have offered insight, but without solid physical evidence, the full mystery remains unsolved. But what solid evidence supports this drastic change in the flight path? Before exploring, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just hit the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel so much. And if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal? Technical data analysis suggests that the aircraft likely turned south. This conclusion is supported by a key reading from Inmarsat, commonly referred to as the Doppler value. This measurement is important because it tracks how the signal frequency changes when the aircraft moves relative to the satellite. Satellites often assist in communication with aircraft during flight. To maintain stable contact, the aircraft's systems adjust to these frequency shifts. However, these adjustments may not always be perfectly accurate, especially when older satellites are involved. Additional factors, such as the satellite's orbital position and temperature, can also influence signal behavior. If the plane crashed where we think it did, why haven't we found its most critical pieces of evidence? Eventually, Malaysian authorities confirmed the accuracy of this analysis. Early challenges in the investigation led to concerns from the global community about how information was shared and how search efforts were coordinated. Investigators from Europe, Australia, and the United States encountered difficulties, partly due to limited initial data and search efforts that began in the South China Sea. This delay may have affected early chances of finding floating debris, which could have helped identify the crash site more precisely. A key focus was locating the aircraft's black boxes. In previous cases, such as Air France Flight 447, recovery took nearly 2 years, even with a fairly accurate search zone. Similarly, the search for MH370's black boxes shifted after 2 months to deeper parts of the ocean. The surface search officially ended in April 2014. Although Malaysia had jurisdiction, its resources for deep-sea search and recovery were limited. Australia then led the next phase of the operation, using satellite data to identify search zones. Due to the depth and unexplored nature of the area, the first step was detailed seabed mapping to safely guide sonar equipment. But even the best theories fall apart under scrutiny. What made this flight path so baffling that it defies almost every explanation? Specialized teams continue to explore the ocean depths in search of answers about Flight 10. Some findings suggest the incident may involve factors beyond a typical aviation accident. The flight's unusual path, taken without any electronic communication, has raised questions that aren't fully explained by common causes such as technical malfunctions or pilot error. Standard explanations like software issues, control system failures, environmental factors such as ice, bird strikes, or even rare events like volcanic ash or meteor activity have all been considered. Yet these do not fully account for a flight straying so far off course. Mechanical or human failures involving sensors, instruments, or electrical systems have also been explored, but none fully explain the event. Even potential emergencies such as smoke, cabin pressure loss, or fire don't provide a complete picture. So far, there's been no confirmed evidence of medical emergencies, pilot confusion, or known external threats. These unanswered questions continue to make this case one of aviation's most puzzling mysteries. What if the answer wasn't in the flight path, but in what was happening inside the aircraft that night? On the way to CAPAC in Boulder, Colorado, Mack, an electrical engineer, closely examined radar data. He believed the plane climbed to 40,000 feet during a turn. Given how full the plane was, such a maneuver would have caused strong G-forces, pressing passengers into their seats. Mikey suggested the climb might have been deliberate to quickly reduce cabin pressure, which could have led to passengers losing consciousness. The pressure drop triggered emergency oxygen masks, but those typically only worked for about 15 minutes below 13,000 feet. At 40,000 feet, passengers could have become unconscious within minutes. Emergency lights dimly lit the cabin, where masks hung unused. However, 4 pressure oxygen masks on board could supply air for hours. Someone aware of the situation could have used one to remain conscious. Radar showed the aircraft nearing Penang Island, just 600 meters from a Malaysian airbase with F-18 jets and air defense radar. Strangely, no immediate response was recorded. Mack grew increasingly concerned about the lack of attention and the serious implications for aviation safety. If you were part of the investigation team, where would you search next? Drop your theory or clue below. We read everyone. But could something even more intentional have occurred? The signs start to point in a darker direction. Contrary to popular belief, the plane was not being remotely controlled from an area beneath the front galley where electrical equipment is stored. Instead, it appeared to be controlled from within the cockpit. This occurred around 1 o'clock in the morning when the plane reached an altitude of 35,000 feet. At midnight, the aircraft disappeared from secondary radar. During the following 20 minutes, the automatic condition reporting system sent a scheduled update to the airline's maintenance team via satellite. This included data on fuel levels, altitude, speed, position, and system status, indicating that satellite communication was functioning at that time, which some find unusual. It is speculated that when the plane vanished from secondary radar, one of the pilots may have been unable to respond, possibly due to being locked out of the cockpit or other unknown factors. Military and civilian primary radar continued tracking the aircraft. Further analysis suggested that the sharp southwest turn was likely manually executed, as it appeared too precise for autopilot. This raises the possibility that someone in the cockpit may have been actively in control. Some have looked not just at what happened, but who was in control. Was it possible that someone on board made sure no one else could intervene? The control system may have depressurized the plane and shut down parts of the electrical system at the same time, briefly disrupting the satellite link. The reason remains unclear. One theory suggests the captain might have taken control, though not through force. While unsettling, this possibility has historical parallels. In 1997, a Singaporean airline captain was reported to have disabled key recorders before crashing a Boeing 737. In 1999, the co-pilot of Flight 990 from Aret was believed to have deliberately crashed the aircraft near Long Island. A month later, the captain of Mozambique Airlines Flight 70 was also involved in a fatal crash from cruising altitude. In 2015, the co-pilot of a Germanwings flight locked the captain out of the cockpit and descended the aircraft into the French Alps. Investigators later stated that the co-pilot had a history of mental health struggles. In contrast, MH370's co-pilot was described as upbeat and looking forward to his wedding. There were no public signs of distress or personal concerns. He was an experienced pilot operating a Boeing 777 under a reputable airline. Behind every experienced pilot is a personal life we rarely see. And in Captain Sari's case, what investigators found raised eyebrows. In a country where pilots were highly respected, Captain Sari was seen as a calm, skilled professional and devoted family man. Despite this image, concerning signs in his life were overlooked. Authorities later uncovered some troubling details. Although evaluations showed Sari could handle pressure and had no record of anxiety or social withdrawal, his personal life painted a different picture. Following the loss of his wife, he became increasingly isolated, spending long hours alone. He formed emotional attachments to a married woman and two young models he met online, and some of his online behavior raised concerns. This marked a shift from the stable life he once led. Experts suggest that his frequent use of social media may have worsened his feelings of loneliness, possibly contributing to symptoms of depression. Investigators also found a flight path on his simulator similar to that of MH370, though this detail was not heavily emphasized in official reports. As more information comes to light, a clearer picture is beginning to emerge. If this discovery shocked you too, give this video a like. It helps more people uncover the truth about MH370. But just as attention turned to the cockpit, another odd detail emerged. Something that happened after the plane vanished. Captain Sari's story may be more complex than it appears. A theory about Flight 370 suggests the plane might not have crashed into the Indian Ocean, as widely believed. This idea is based on accounts from families who say they heard their loved ones' phones ring for several days after the flight disappeared. 19 families reported similar experiences. In one case, a relative appeared on Chinese TV, demonstrating that a call to their missing brother's phone still rang, which drew public attention to the claim. Telecom expert Paul Franks shared his thoughts online, noting that phones submerged in salt water would typically lose signal and stop working, making the reports unusual. While these claims are not confirmed, they raise important questions. If the plane didn't crash into the sea, what else could explain the phone activity? With many uncertainties still surrounding the case, some believe a deeper look into the event is warranted. Yet not all theories are grounded in human error. Could the plane have been taken over without anyone physically hijacking it? Victor Yellow from Roanoke, Virginia, is a notable member of an independent group studying the MH370 disappearance. He's been analyzing flight simulations, especially one by the pilot Sari, who broke the flight into manual stages instead of letting it run continuously. This unusual method, ending in a strange disappearance, led Yellow to believe Sari may have played a significant role in the event. There was no technical requirement for Sari to use a personal flight simulator, which some find unusual. Yellow suggests the simulation might have been symbolic or intentional, offering clues about the situation. Dismissing it as a coincidence, he believes, could overlook important context. Historian Norman Dees presents another theory. MH370 might have been taken over remotely using uninterrupted autopilot technology developed to enhance flight safety after past aviation threats. He speculates the plane could have been redirected for undisclosed reasons, possibly even intercepted by more than one group. In 2019, British producer Ian Wilson noticed what appeared to be a crashed plane in the Cambodian jungle using satellite imagery. He and his brother Jaime attempted to investigate, though difficult terrain forced them to turn back. Experts later concluded the object was not MH370, but the brothers remain interested in continuing their search. Another theory suggests a passenger may have gained control of the plane after boarding, though this idea remains unconfirmed. As investigations continued, this possibility added yet another layer to the ongoing mystery. As strange as it sounds, something or someone on board may not have been listed on the official manifest. Investigators discovered a mysterious cargo item weighing about 200 pounds on the MH370 flight. This was reported by Sor Lin, whose wife and children were on board. French sources confirmed the finding, adding to concerns about possible irregularities. A report from Le Perrin also noted an overloaded container and mentioned that an extra 89 kilograms had been added without a clear explanation. It's uncertain whether this was an error or intentional, but it raised important questions. A German aviation expert has suggested the possibility of hijacking and believes there is evidence worth examining. Theories include involvement by a crew member, a passenger, an unaccounted stowaway, or even remote interference with the aircraft's systems. Some officials remain cautious and have not supported more speculative ideas, such as a stowaway or military involvement. Another unconfirmed theory suggests the plane may have been accidentally downed during a joint military exercise between Thailand and the United States in the South China Sea, which occurred around the time of the disappearance. Mark Tagan, a former airline director, stated he had seen satellite images showing unidentified aircraft in the area and claimed he later received warnings not to speak further. And even with years of research, expert analysis, and endless speculation, one truth remains. Specialized teams continue to explore the ocean depths in search of answers about Flight 10. Some findings suggest the incident may involve factors beyond a typical aviation accident. The flight's unusual path, taken without any electronic communication, has raised questions that aren't fully explained by common causes such as technical malfunctions or pilot error. Standard explanations like software issues, control system failures, environmental factors such as ice, bird strikes, or even rare events like volcanic ash or meteor activity have all been considered. Yet, these do not fully account for a flight straying so far off course. Mechanical or human failures involving sensors, instruments, or electrical systems have also been explored, but none fully explain the event. Even potential emergencies, such as smoke, cabin pressure loss, or fire, don't provide a complete picture. So far, there's been no confirmed evidence of medical emergencies, pilot confusion, or known external threats. These unanswered questions continue to make this case one of aviation's most puzzling mysteries. If you found today's video interesting, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support is very important to us. Be sure to check out the next video appearing on your screen. You're sure to love the content we bring. Please leave a comment about which country you'd like us to explore next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.